in the basic term of, hey, at least look at these do's and don'ts, in some of simple terms or simple reports, or what should they be looking at? What numbers or what report should they be looking at, or what are the flags? So if you see that, don't even, it's not
Right.
Would you be able to give us advice on that?
Right. I mean, if it's like a private investment, I would look at who's running it, the executive team, the board, and see their qualifications, and then their expertise, their resume, things like that. If you're investing in a private company, and see their background, see what they've done in the past. If they're barred or banned by a certain institution, then that's a red flag. These are private markets, but in the public markets, I mean, they're already vetted by the FINRA, and they're vetted by the SEC already. So because to get that chicken symbol and to be a public company, to be traded, you have to go through an excruciating level of auditing, reviewing, questioning. So to be a public company is extremely difficult. You have to do, it's open. Everything's public. Your financials, who's an officer, who's a director of the company, they're all public. But I would say that I've never invested. I never invested even 5% of my portfolio in one stock. That has never happened. If I invested 5% of my portfolio in something, it would be real estate and my company, because those are the things that I know, and those are things that I'm good at. And the red flags, I would say, is if you ever hear, oh, this stock is doing wonderful, stocks go even one tweet from Elon Musk on Tesla, it can go down. So stocks go up and down all the time. You're not going to predict it. If anybody can predict one stock and how it's going to go up the next week or the next day, then it'll be a trillionaire. Right. So if you look up the Forbes list of the top 10 billionaires, most of them started their own business. So if you look, none of them have invested in stock and have gotten wealthy. I'm saying, can you invest in a bunch of stocks and be wealthy? Of course you can, but can you also go to the casino and gamble you can too. It's a numbers game. So when you have a calculative, diversified investment, you win on the numbers, on the game, but you invest in one thing and you don't. So
that's very interesting.
Right.
That's very good suggestion.
Yeah, I would never recommend, unless you have a vested interest in that specific stock. Yeah. Like, for example, if you know that someone's going to step down, the stock market's about to go up because of that step down, then maybe. Right. But that's called insider trading. Yeah. But that's
and so on a private company, for someone say, hey, ABC company is about to go to the moon.
Right.
I mean,
right.
For an average Joe, is it basically Google, or is it how?
Well, you can Google it, but most PPMs are made by attorneys. So the private placement memorandum, when you invest in a private company, has their attorney's name and address and everything. So you can find those attorneys very well. So I would just call the attorney.
Gotcha.
and see what, first of all, if you can even invest. Right. Because you might not be qualified. Right. Because there is you have to be, most PPMs, unless it's, most PPMs, you have to be an accredited investor to invest in there. So you'd ask, first of all, you got to figure out if you're qualified. Why the SEC really does protect you, because they don't want people that are not accredited to lose, like I said, a large amount of their earnings, where they don't have the risk appetite to invest in a private company. So I never want people to do that, unless you have $1 million in assets, not including your primary residence, and you make over $400,000 a year. Yeah. Then go and invest in the PPM. Right. You go, the address is there, all the information should be in the PPM, like the documents, the leadership team, the executive team. And I would do your own due diligence. I would even hire your own attorney and then review those. I mean, if you're putting $1 million or something, or 100,000, 200,000, I'm doing my research. Yeah,
absolutely. As a family, a new family, say, a young couple with maybe a kid or two, and as far as planning purposes, saying, as far as foundation suggestion. I think I mentioned a little bit about maybe the 10, 10, and 80 and so forth. But even on top of that, I think Clark Howard or, Dave Ramsey used to say, hey, you should have at least, 3 months of emergency savings. Just don't touch it. And, so, what are some of the things maybe you can give us advice on to the community? As we're just getting started.
Right.
But things like, a double saying, don't think too much about the neighbors driving.
Right. Absolutely. Keeping up with the Joneses, right?
And your refrigerator doesn't have to look like it's a gigantic entertainment center,
Right.
I mean, it's foundation, basic, simple thing as that.
I would say that in terms of like your income level, it really depends. But I would say that you can't spend more than 30% of your income on rent or mortgage. You're not. That's a rule of thumb.
That's very important.
Because people they buy or they a house that's out of their means, and you're supposed to do 30%. That's kind of the rule of thumb.
Which would include your furniture payment.
Right.
TV payment.
Right.
Or refrigerator payment. That would include as well. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want to do more than 30%, and then I would also make sure to have a not comprehensive, but like a plan for you, personalized plan, a financial plan, not like a. So wealth management and financial planning are like two separate things, right?
Like Jones or someone
right.
else that can go to.
Right. So Fidelity has financial planners. I know a Chin guy actually that's a financial planner. Great. That's a good friend of mine, and
we can put the name up there.
Yeah.
The thing.
Right. I think we should, but he's really good. He's a good friend of mine. He's a very ethical and integral person, and wealth management is different. So financial planning and wealth management are completely two different things. But I would say that don't a vehicle. And I see the younger boys do it all the time. Have these nice cars.
Yeah.
A vehicle is a depreciated asset. It's an asset that depreciates.
Listen to that, boys.
Right. So it's a depreciated asset. I wouldn't spend. I don't want to spend too much on a vehicle. And I would minimize that. And I would just make sure that you have, like what Dave said, 3 months of emergency savings. And that would be the minimum. When I say 3 months, don't be literal on 3 months. I would make sure you have a lot more than 3 months. But your materialistic things aren't very important. And once you have a higher income and you can afford it, just because you can afford it doesn't mean you can buy it though. Right. So you got to be really careful with that. And materials they come and go. And I would just always say, if I'm going to spend money on something, I spend money on experiences. Those can never be. You'll always remember those experiences. I've spoken with a lot of very successful people, and and a little bit older than I am, but what they tell me is, time is a finite commodity. Like time is, I can't get it back. I can get money back, but I can't get time back. So like I'm gonna enjoy my earnings, and I want to spend time with my family, spend time with the kids, and spend time with your family. I think that's a better. I wouldn't say investment, but that's better allocation of money than any material would be. Spending time with them.
Great. Speaking of that, investing in yourself, I think I don't remember who said it. Maybe one of the business persons said it really seems like we spend more money on our cars than we spend on ourselves.
Right.
Like even maintenance issues. I think you're right. Even if we go to once a year to some sort of, a business for 2 hours to go listen to someone talk about good foundations or things. I think, you're absolutely right. Good stuff.
We definitely need to, knowledge and ignorance is expensive. It's so expensive. Spend 2 hours. I mean, there's one of my mentors told me, like he mentioned a ladder. There's steps you have to take. You can't just jump to the ladder. You can't just jump and get to the roof, right? You have to take those steps. Take those steps, and it takes time. Experience takes time. Knowledge takes time. So take those little baby steps, and then one day you'll get there. If you get 1% better every day, at the end of the year, you're 365% times better. So I read that somewhere, but
Good.
yeah, that's one of my advices.
Yeah. On a personal note, I've known you for the last over a year,
Right.
coming on 2 years. So I'm impressed in many fronts. And so one of the things that I'm like, man, Rome is pretty good at this is that your communication skill is not only with the community, but even with the outside of the community and stuff like that. And so it is that, how do you think about that before we get to the meeting, or how do you think about it? What is your preparation, or do you spend some time with that type of the wording that you use,
Right.
They call it the first impression, but still, how do you put people at ease?
Right.
Okay, that's also another one, and so. The overall, if we look at the communication skill, I thought, and I'm like, this is pretty good. And so,
Well, thank
how
you.
did you develop, or what is it?
I think it comes with experience. I've done it 1,000 times, so I'm so used to it. Like my first time, I remember I did a presentation on a deck, and I was so bad. I said about 5,000 times, and I was super bad at it. But I learned to do a lot of prepping, and then it kind of got better as you go.
Sure.
So, but I'm also really good at reading people. I can understand when someone's uncomfortable or upset. So I can see it. I can really, I analyze the individual when I talk to them. And that's one of my secrets, and I'm letting it out just for this. But I analyze them, and I can see their comfort level,
Right.
and when I see their comfort level, I understand what I should and shouldn't say. So when I say something and the guy or the lady, they don't want to talk about it, I don't talk about it. Because I'm like, okay, they're sensitive about this subject. Let's talk about something else. So I'm really good at reading people. Well, you have to. That's one of the main, as a senior executive, that's one of the main talents that you have to really acquire, is to be able to understand the room. And there's some sensitive topics that you want to talk to, you want to get to, and you want to talk to them about. And even though there's some things that you kind of have to overcome that hurdle, but depending on how important it is.
You sort of pick your battle,
right?
Almost.
Yeah, you pick your battle. That's exactly what it is. I pick my battles because some things aren't worth it. You with a cost benefit analysis. Some things aren't worth ruining a relationship. Like they might hurt someone's feelings. So I try to be mindful of that.
But as a leader, as a team, it's like you try to get the best out of
Absolutely.
that group.
Yeah. If in my board, so externally, like talking to, like, for example, like the mayor, or that's a different it depends on who the individual is. And if I'm going to meet with like the mayor, or if I'm going to meet with a business partner, those are two different approaches. And if I meet with my board, that's a different approach, because my board we're supposed to be very authentic to each other. And I express my opinions with my board, but I try to be, I respect everyone's opinion. Respect comes a long way. We have to respect one another. Even if we disagree, I always respect them. I've never have ever in my board has insulted anyone. That will never happen. That's so out of my character. So having good integrity, and being not being condescending, or there's a difference between being really authentic and real, and then being just a very condescending person or a mean person. So I try to be as respectful as I can.
We just had for this series, we just talked with my dad for about over an hour.
So then you talk to your dad, and you talk to me?
That's right.
Oh, wow, look at me.
But it was a insightful conversation, in that listening to other people and also respecting other people's opinion and things. That's very unique. That I think all of us can definitely
I think having a conversation comes a long way.
Yeah.
And having a very not having more discussion comes a long way. There's a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication, and I just would say, like, just go out and just talk to them. Or if you have a miscommunication with someone, having a conversation comes a long way, and you get to understand one another more. And there's a lot of miscommunication meetings all the time, and it's like I usually just go like, well, just talk, when someone goes, hey, I think he's not very happy with me. I'm like, just have a conversation with him, have a cup of coffee with him, and see if we can talk things out. I'm sure it's not as bad as it seems. And having a conversation just comes a long way.
Absolutely. On the and especially, I mean, you're a Chin, we're a Chin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have our sensitive issues and sensitive times, and
right.
And I don't mean to ask that question at all, but in a more of the business point of view, we hear that there's going to be a first minority bank here in Minneapolis, which is very exciting. What's going on? What's the status and what's the can you update us on that?
I can update, but I have to be very sensitive of what I'm saying because a lot of it is confidential. I know we're working with Old National Bank on this project. It will be the first MDI bank in the state of Indiana. I can't talk too much because
just tell us when it's going to open.
Yeah, it'll open. So it'll open Q3, Q4 next year.
Okay.
And so
that's exciting.
That's kind of, we have a tremendous leadership team in the MDI bank.
Right.
We have a tremendous support from the city. We have tremendous support from the state. Right. We have to go to Indiana DFI, Department of Finance.
Sure.
We regulate by them, and then we go to the FDIC.
Sure. And
banking is the second most regulated industry besides nuclear power. So it's pretty regulated. To be a CEO of a MDI a bank, you have to have C-suite level experience, right? In banking.
Yeah.
And then
C-suite level is
senior executive. Like you can't be like for example, if you're a clerk at Chase Bank, you can't be a CEO of a new bank. You have to be like an executive, like a very senior executive, making the executive committee. So if you're not that, then you can't be a CEO of a bank. The DFI won't let you because you're handling millions in deposits. Like that's other people's money. I mean, rightfully so. They should be careful with it. So it's a very regulated. And then once you're trying to start a minority bank, it's even more regulated. To qualify for a minority depository institution, an MDI bank, you have because you have to find a minority CEO. You know how difficult it is to have a minority CEO in banking in the state of Indiana?
Right.
Extremely difficult because most C-suite level executives in banking are Caucasian. So to be qualified as an MDI, your leadership has to look like an MDI, minority owned. So that's one of the problems that we're running into. And but we've identified all these issues, and we're really pushing this. There hasn't been a bank started in 20 years in the state of Indiana.
Oh wow!
This is the first. So when the DFI, maybe I'm speaking too much, but when the DFI, I'll just go ahead and share it. Yeah. When the DFI said, when we met with them, they basically said, well, this is the first application we've gotten since we weren't here.
Wow!
So they don't even know what's going on.
That's amazing.
So that's something it's a challenge because it's the nuance of it.
Right.
Banking in 1999 or 20 years ago to banking now is completely different. So the industry has completely changed, especially like even just yellow cab and Uber. That has changed. Hotel and Airbnb, that has changed. Same with banking. Now they digitalize everything. Now you want to order a new car, you lose your card. You don't have to go to the branch. You just go on your app and get it. So it's a challenge for them and a challenge for us as well. So we're kind of working together on it. But in terms of support, we have tremendous support from the banking industry. I am just astonished about how much support we have from the entire the state level, the city level, and also the Indiana Bankers Associations. They have been so helpful to us.
Well, I'm sure our community is definitely behind that. So.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, we'd you know, I think that our community needs our own bank, and I really think that we can go to and deposits from people that look like us or people that is managed by us.
And I think the best thing about is, I think you mentioned this a few times, is that you're empowering the community
Absolutely,
in
yeah.
many ways, and not just in different things. And one thing that we always talk about is that in not in a bad way, but folks that grew up here that had so much foundation
Right.
that they had before from their parents, grandparents, and so on and so forth, from institution. And things like this will be tremendous for folks to come.
For sure. And I really think that we are inherently entrepreneurs, the Chin people. We have so many businesses. And, you know, I just want us to have a bigger voice and a bigger platform. And how you do that is you vote. So I really want people to start voting. You know,
I totally agree.
right. And so, you know, about voting, that you know, we have 30,000 in Indy.
Right.
Like, we should be voting. And I don't care where you vote.
Right.
I'm not here to tell you to vote for this or that.
Right.
But that's to personal opinions. But just vote. Just go out there and vote.
Well, yeah, that's going to the next level, so to speak. But tell us about the community involvement that you've been doing lately. I know we're a part of the BCNA, Burmese Community in North America.
Yeah.
Can you say a few words about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
We can tie it into voting part of it.
Right. I think
That's how important it is.
I think in terms of the Burmese community in North America, and is an economic development centered organization, and also an advocacy as well. We advocate for our people. We also advocate for autism, mental health. That's one of our projects that we're working on, and we're also working on having a chamber of commerce. I mean, wouldn't that be cool to have where we share resources? People always ask me, this is where I'm. They go, "Are you?" Because I was born Mizo, and I can only speak Mizoram, but my father's Matu, so which makes me Matu too. So they go, "Are you Mizo or right?" So are you Mizo? Are you Matu? Or I'm like, I'm Mizo. Yeah. I'm Matu. I'm Chin, and I'm also Burmese, and I'm also American. Right. So I can be all these. Absolutely. That's okay to be all these. So I'm all five. Yeah. But in terms of the BCNA, we want a chamber of commerce where we can share resources and knowledge, and like networking has been one of the most important parts of my business career. My professional development is networking. People I know. If I can't do something, I know someone that can do something, and he can help me achieve my goals. Right. So when you have a platform and a chamber of commerce, and if you want to be, let's say, the next general contractor, if you have general contractors that already are in the chamber, we can facilitate a meeting and see how you can develop professionally. Yeah. Or if you want to be an engineer, how do you become the roadmap to be an engineer? Sure. That helps a lot. And a letter of recommendation. So, and networking events, those are what I think the qualities of BCNA, which makes things a little bit different. Yeah. Even the state of Indiana, they have the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. Right. Greenwood has Aspire Economic Development and Chamber of Commerce. Right. So like a Chamber of Commerce is extremely important in communities, because you can invest back into communities. Right. The businesses can, for example, if you want to have our own community center, like like a Burma center or a Chin center, whatever you want to call it, we can gather a group of business people in our community, in our organization, in our Chamber of Commerce, and we can invest back into that. That's right. So things like that could be happening. So
and not only for the Chin, the Mon.
Yeah, the Mons, everyone. Yeah.
It's absolutely a terrific opportunity.
Absolutely. We definitely want to connect with every single people in the Burmese ethnic group. That's what I think the BCNA is about. It's connecting everyone together, and we want to connect all the ethnic groups
totally
together.
Agree.
Because the more, the more we connect, the stronger we are, the bigger platform and voice that we have.
Well, I've taken a lot of your time. So
that's okay.
First of all, I appreciate it.
I enjoyed the conversation, Vaughn.
Thank you. Things that you want to say to the audience, or something, even any other topics, I don't know. I know you're still single.
Yeah. I think you've covered everything quite tremendously, but I'd just like to say thank you to Lon and for the for the opportunity to be interviewed here and to share my thoughts. I've never really. This is the first podcast where not podcast, where interview.
Yeah.
It feels like a podcast. That's why that I've actually expressed really all my opinions and thoughts on certain subjects. It's more really regulated when I get interviewed. So thank you for giving me the platform and the opportunity to speak on it. And I'm glad to be a part of this, and I'm also glad to be your friend and colleagues. And I think you've done a really great job with the Burma Advocacy Group, in advocating for our people and the Burma Bill and all sorts of things. And I implored NUSCC. I implore we keep continuing our work, and we keep having a platform for our people and providing opportunities for the youth and also every aspiring entrepreneurs. That's what it's really about.
We're just getting started.
Yep. Yeah. All right, Lon, thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.